Honestly, I was a bit worried how Tekken 8 might turn out. The series has a relative monopoly on the 3D fighter market, so Bandai Namco might not have felt the need to go all out on this. Well, those worries seem to have thankfully been misplaced because this looks amazing, and from what little we can gather, makes some smart decisions from a gameplay perspective too. This whole presentation is just so confident and assured. For one thing, it's actual in-game footage, which I was not expecting this soon. And I think it's really gutsy for your reveal trailer just to show a single uninterrupted fight between the lead characters. I don't think I need to tell you just how impressive this all is visually, that speaks for itself. I love the little details like rain trickling down their face, subtle facial animations, and the beautiful lighting. Probably a big factor here is that this is next-gen exclusive, so it's not being developed with older hardware in mind. Immediately off the bat though, it's clear that Bandai Namco are really focusing on what I think is probably the single most important factor behind Tekken's continued success. Hits feel good. Really good. Every move, every blow here has a weight and impact to it, which even just looking at it feels powerful. One of the innovations that Tekken 7 brought to the table and made it such a success from a spectator's perspective was the slowdown at the end of rounds. And I wonder if they're going to integrate more slowdowns into gameplay. I think a really smart way of doing it would be to add these slowdowns and dynamic camera pans to when you successfully crush a move that does over a certain amount of damage. It would be a bit dumb if we got slowdowns for something like a crouch jab. The crush system is something that's very ingrained into what Tekken is, but also a massive source of frustration for a lot of players, and that's mainly because the game doesn't do a very good job at communicating what does crush and what doesn't. I've always thought that Tekken should aim to be a bit more visually intuitive, in that moves should clearly signal how they function through their animations. Like, if something is punishable on block, make that a bit more obvious. And clearly signposting a crushed move like this, whilst also doing it through this sick animation, would kill two birds with one stone in a really smart way. And just to be clear, there is a difference between a move being crushed, which is a system mechanic, and mere evasion through hitbox-hurtbox interactions. We've made a video about it, and you can check it out in the description if you want to. Now, there is of course the concern that if there's too much slowdown, it'd be obstructive to game flow, and some of this is also clearly just for the trailer. Harada did mention that this is from the Tekken 8 story mode. Maybe all of this is just single-player stuff which won't be a part of competitive Tekken. Another thing that stood out is how at one point in the trailer, they specifically emphasize a backdash to a whiff punish. Also, this string isn't normally a natural combo, so I wonder if punishing a whiffed move leads to a counter hit bonus. Would be crazy if so, but again, maybe just for trailer purposes. One of the biggest complaints about Tekken 7 was how movement was watered down and how the game sort of forced you into this close quarters poking match, which definitely favored certain types of characters. Now, this is not to say that close quarters bad, mid-range good, because it's a bit more complex than that. For example, Virtua Fighter is almost exclusively fought at close range, and that's fine because the game is designed around that, and that's what it's good at. Tekken, on the other hand, has always been at its best and most interesting when the characters are dancing around the screen, using movement to create mistakes and jockey for positioning. Something that's really clear from this trailer is that moves have a lot of pushback on block, way more than in Tekken 7. If this is a deliberate attempt to get the fight more into the mid-range and put a greater emphasis on movement, then I am all for it. Also, it's nice to see that the stages seem like they're a lot bigger, so even though the screw system is back, we'll hopefully be avoiding the problem that plagued Tekken 7, where virtually every character could take you to the wall in a single combo. Hopefully this gives wall carry specialists like Nina and Lee a chance to shine. For as amazing as this trailer looks though, and despite the immense leap in graphical fidelity, this still looks like Tekken. It'll likely be another refinement or twist on the formula that was established with Tekken 3. Characters still use the same moves from previous iterations, so your knowledge will carry over. And it's not a ground-up rebuild approach that other franchises like Street Fighter or Guilty Gear adopt. I think both approaches have their pros and cons, and Tekken has adopted the refinement approach for the past 2 decades since Tekken 5, so I don't think anyone should be surprised. The fact that they're clearly focusing on Tekken's strongest, most defining elements though, powerful movement and powerful hits, is something to be very excited about, I think. And one last interesting thing we saw was Jin going full one-winged angel and harnessing his devil powers in the middle of a match. Up until now, Devil Jin and regular Jin have always been completely separate. I mean, I guess you could include Omen stance from previous games, but it's never been this overt. Something I've wanted to see for a while now is more varied movesets and differentiation between characters. I really miss the experimentation in character archetypes we got in Tekken 4, which introduced characters like Steve or Marduk, who are so different to anything else and innovative. And specifically, I've always wanted to see a Jin-Devil Jin fusion, possibly with a mid-match transformation command. I think this would be an awesome statement of intent for one of Tekken's most iconic characters. Though this could be just something like a rage art with no bearing to actual gameplay, so let's see. Now, as awesome as this all looks, I think it's also important to keep things in perspective. My biggest concern really is how the netcode is going to fare. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the ongoing success of competitive Tekken 8 hinges on having a modern, fully kitted online experience. This means functional rollback netcode, dedicated servers, and proper anti-cheat. Tekken 7 really lagged behind its competitors in this respect, and the attitude of the developers on this has always come across as quite dismissive. I just hope that they take this part of the package seriously. Also, I think with a game as mechanically complex as Tekken, a good tutorial mode, possibly one that's intertwined with an engaging story mode, is really important to the development of the competitive scene. If you're curious, I've also made 2 videos with Dash Fight where I've gone over some features I'd like to see in Tekken 8. Again, it's in the description below. And I just gotta reiterate what a big sigh of relief this trailer was. It looks inspired, confident, and keenly aware of its own strengths as a franchise. Again, considering the relative lack of competition in the 3D fighter market, Bandai Namco probably didn't need to go this all out on the graphical fidelity, but it really shows that they're taking this seriously, and it's just great to see that fighting games are moving out of the poverty zone. I'm really excited for where this genre as a whole is heading. Street Fighter 6, which looks incredible in its own right, came out the gate with confirmed rollback netcode, crossplay, a clearly defined, unified aesthetic, willingness to innovate, and excellent community outreach. I think Tekken 8 needs to look to that as its competition in terms of offering players a full-on, feature-rich package, and I'm sure Bandai Namco are well aware of that. It's an exciting time to be a fighting game fan for sure, but please let me know what you think about the Tekken 8 reveal trailer, and what your hopes and expectations are. Thanks so much for watching as always, and have an excellent day.